Hello. So we're going to work on this project today. It's a very simple project, very easy to do, so I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how I put it together, okay? So to start off, you're going to need 3 pieces of poster board to make it exactly like I make it. Once you learn how to make it, you could expand on it. You could make it longer, you could make it higher, you could make it just one section, you could make the section smaller. Once you learn how to do it, you can, change it however you want. But I'm just going to make a duplicate of this one, just so that you guys can see how I did it. So to start off, you're going to need some poster board. I am going to use this stuff here that I got at Joann's. I got this at Joann's. It came with 10 sheets of white poster board, 10 sheets of black, and then some medium weight chipboard. You could use a cereal box if you wanted to. This stuff doesn't paint very well, so I wouldn't plan on painting it, but you could cover it with paper. You could use anything that is slightly thicker than cardstock. If you really wanted to, you could use cardstock, but it wouldn't hold up as well. So try to use something just a little bit sturdier, okay? So what you're going to need is 3 12 by 12 sheets of that, and then we're going to cut them down into what we need, okay? So you're going to start off by cutting them down to 11.5 inches, and then from that we're going to need we're going to need 2 that are 11.5 by 4.5, okay? And then 2 that are 11.5 by 5.25, and 2 that are 11.5 by 6. So it's very simple measurements, so it will be very easy to put together. And then we're going to do some scoring, and the scoring is exactly the same on every piece, on all 3 pieces, okay? What you're going to do is stick it in here so that it goes to the 11.5 inch side. And then because it's a little bit thicker, it's a little harder to score, so I'm just going to use this tool, which will make it slightly easier, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to score this at 1/2 inch. Oops. And if you mess up like I did, it's okay. It'll be covered. So we're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 2 inches, 6 inches, 7.5 inches. Okay, then we're going to turn it and we're going to score it at 1.5 inches. And that's it. So then grab another one. We're going to do the same thing. Put it into the 11.5 inch side, and this is going to be the one that's 5.25, but it's going to be the same exact score mark, so nothing changes. It's really easy. Just score it at 1/2 inch, 2 inches, 6 inches, and 7.5 inches. Turn it and score it at 1.5. Last one. Well, for me, because I've already made 3 of them, so you're going to do these. You're going to do this score mark on all 6 of your pieces, or however many pieces you chose to do. 1/2 inch, 2 inches, 6 inches, and 7.5, and then we're going to score it at 1.5. So then you're going to do that on the rest of your pieces too, okay? And then the next step we're going to do is we're going to do just a little bit of cutting. You could do this with your knife if you wanted to. I'm just going to use my scissors. We're going to start with the 1/2 inch. It's going to be over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that little rectangle. This is my 1/2 inch score mark, and down here is my 1.5 inch score mark. So I just removed a piece that is 1.5 inches by 1/2 inch. Okay, and now all the cutting that we're going to do is going to happen below the 1.5 inch mark. Okay. And the way that I'm cutting it is I'm just cutting it at a slight angle, so there's a little bit of a gap in between the two. Okay, just to make it a little bit easier to fold up. And then I'm just going to cut a little tiny part off of this end as well. Okay, so there's that one. We're going to do the exact same thing again. We're going to cut the 1.5 inch by 1/2 inch rectangle out of it. And then I just angled the top there a little bit. You're going to do this to all 6 of your pieces as well. Your cutting doesn't have to be perfect because all of this is going to be hidden anyways. And then just a little tiny bit off there. Set it aside. Oops, let me show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like right there. Okay. And then again, cut off the little rectangle there. And then we're going to cut this just like so. And then just a tiny bit off there. Okay, now we have all of ours ready to go. Okay. Now is the time to put them together, so we're just going to do up our folds. And this board, it cracks really easy, so be gentle with all your folds, okay? Then, oops, I forgot one. Then we're going to apply adhesive to the 1/2 inch flap there. And then we're going to apply it to the square there, the rectangle in the middle, and then this tab here, and that's it. Okay? Now to fold it up, to help keep it looking neat, what you want to do is you want to fold it in just like that. Okay, so that those 2 tabs are going to be in between the 2 larger pieces. And then all I do is I line up the sides here. Like so. And then rest the bottom on there. And there's your box. Okay? I'm going to set that aside and do it again. We're just going to do our folds up here. And the only reason we do up the fold is because it makes it easier to come together after you put the adhesive on. So we're going to put the adhesive on this tab. Don't use this adhesive either. I'm just using it because it's what I had available and it's quick. Use a good strong adhesive that will hold it. So I put adhesive here, 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 and here, not here. Okay? Then we fold it up, bring in the sides, and keep these on top of that one, because then these tabs won't show at all on the inside of the box or on the outside, because then you're going to cover it with this tab. Okay? So then we're going to just bring this together and line up the seams there. This part is crucial that they line up right, because if it doesn't, then your box won't sit right. Then I usually set mine down and push on the folds really well. Set the adhesive there. Something I forgot to do with this one. Okay. And then this one. Set up our folds. Okay. Then we're going to apply our adhesive. There. 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 And there. Okay. Then, keeping the tabs on top, we're just gonna stick those down and line up this side. Just like that. And then stick the box together, and there you have it. So now you have your 3 different sizes that go together like this. Like so. And then we've got our 6 pieces. Okay. And now the one thing that I learned from my other box is that this part is sort of crucial to help them stay together. All I'm going to do is put a strip of adhesive on the sides of all of my boxes, and I'm using score tape because it is good adhesive and you want it to really stick. Okay, and I'm only using one because we're going to do more to it to help hold it together as well. So we're just using this to hold it together until we get the rest of it together. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put one. I only put the adhesive on one side, one set of boxes, but on the back of all of the boxes I'm going to put just a line of adhesive. Oops, but not that one. My bad. Just the front 2. Okay. So just a little strip of adhesive there. And then we're going to stick our boxes together. Make sure that the sides line up and that the bottoms line up. That is the most important. It's easy to make sure that the bottoms line up if you just set it down on the ground and then push it up to the next one. And then the sides is, I sort of just hold the sides and then that's how they line up. So now that one is together. Okay. Now we're going to start with this one. And on these ones we have adhesive on the sides and we're going to stick them together like this. So there's that one. And that one. Now we have them stuck together, held together like that. Okay. Now the next step, we're just going to remove this adhesive. Like that. And stick them together as best you can. And there you have it. Now they're stuck together like that. Okay. And then what I learned with my box is that I wanted something to keep them together a little more squished together. So what I did with my black one was I ran, I just had some black electrical tape, so I ran that along the edge, and you can't see it because it's covered, but I don't have any white tape, so I don't know Here, we'll use this. This will work. I have this little thin washi tape. It will help. I'm just going to put it there. I don't know how much this will hold it together, but it'll at least give you an idea of what I did. I'm squishing the boxes together and pulling the washi tape really tight, okay? See how there's a space there? And then if I squish it together, that's what the tape will do. And the tape only needs to hold it temporarily. Once you put on the page, what you're going to cover it with, that will hold it definitely. And if you don't use washi tape, if you use black, you can use good tape. You could use clear tape too if you wanted to. The problem is that we're not going to wrap the paper all the way around it, so whatever you use, you'll see a little strip of it. See how on the black, the corner, you can see the corner, but you can't really see where the there, you can see the shiny, a little bit of shiny, but unless you look for it, you don't really notice it. So that's what we're going for with this, but it helps hold it together that way. Okay, and then the next step is just to decorate it. To decorate mine, I used one piece of 12 by 12 paper. Let's see here. I think I'm going to do it with this paper, which is from Lost and Found. It's just 2 extra pieces that I had from a project that I did. The first thing that I want to do is do the front. Okay. Now I know this box is going to be 3 inches. That's what I sized it for, okay? Each one steps up a ½ inch. So that if you want to add more, just step up a ½ inch each time to the length of your box. Like where it says 4.5. Oh no, wait, I didn't do a ½ inch. I did 3/4 of an inch. I forgot. I was going to do a ½ inch, but I decided to do 3/4 of an inch to give it a little more space in between. So each one steps up 3/4 of an inch. So if you want to make another one, then make your next box be 11.5 by 6 3/4, and then you could add another one onto the back. Okay? Or if you wanted to, you could add a longer one onto the back. Once you learn how to do it, you know, your possibilities are endless. You can do a lot of stuff with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this piece of paper down to the size that I need. Yes. And I believe that it's going to be 3 by 8. Yep, 3 by 8. Just slightly over 8 because there's the where it comes together. So I'm going to cut this down to no, I want it to be that much. I'm just going to cut it to 2 7/8, and then I'm going to cut it to 7 7/8. I just have a tiny little border then, which is exactly what I wanted, just like that. Okay. So then here's the thing that I know is that each of these spaces up here and here are going to be 3/4 of an inch. So what I want to do is just do them slightly under 3/4 of an inch. Yes. Just like that. them to the same size that we have here, 7 7/8. And all I'm going to do is just chop it that way because it makes it a little bit easier. Okay. So that's going to go there. This one is going to go right there. And this one is going to go right there. So you can see how it comes together. So all I'm going to do is go ahead and stick those on there real quick. Just like that. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and stick this one on. It helps the covering it with paper helps it look a little more like one piece as well, instead of all the different pieces put together. And last. Okay, so there we have that. Okay, you can see what it looks like there. And then what I did, the next step that I did is I cut a piece that was the length of this and came up about an inch. No, 1.5 inches from the back. That's just a straight piece that's held onto the back. I'm not going to do that with this one because I don't want that extra piece. But that's, you know, you could do that as a decorative part. You could edge cut the top of it or edge punch the top of it. You could do all sorts of things. But I'm not going to do that for this one because I want it to be just plain like this. But what I am going to do is cut a piece that is the length of this, which is 4.5 by no more than 4.5. So I'm going to cut this to about 4.5. And then I'm also going to cut it again to 4.5. Like so. Okay, and then I'm going to do it again for the other side. I want to do 2 of those at 4.5. Alright, and then comes the slightly tricky part. This is how I did it. I put it on here like so. Okay, sort of lined it up with what I wanted it to be. Then you could use a little temporary adhesive if you wanted to. Then I laid it down like so. Okay, just like that. And I took a pencil and I put a mark right where my steps were. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is cut them with my scissors. You could use your X-Acto knife if you wanted to. And right now I'm just cutting right on the line that I made. And then I'm going to test it, and right now it's an exact match. But I don't want that to be because I want there to be the gap. So the first thing I'm going to do then is I'm just going to create my own little measurement. I'm just going to go in just a tiny bit. I don't need that much of a gap, just a little one. And I'm just removing just the teensiest bit from each section. There. Like that. That one might need a little bit more. I'm just sort of eyeballing it. You could measure if you wanted to. I don't like measuring. Okay. Then I'm going to put it on there, and that's exactly what I want, except I forgot a little off the top here. Okay. And now you can see that I have a nice little mat on each section. See that? And it looks good. So now before I put this onto the other side, what I want to do is I want to create another one, but this time I need to create it opposite. So I'm going to put my piece of paper down, upside down, onto the other square that I cut, because I want this one to be like this. Okay, so just place it upside down and use it as your template and cut Sorry if you hear that noise. My daughter's guinea pig is noisy, which is why she's in my room now instead of in her room. Okay, now when you take them apart, you have two pieces that are exactly opposite. One goes here and one goes here. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick those down. Sadie, seriously, stop. Okay, I'm gonna put it up like this and then just sort of line it up with how we want it to be. Oh, that's not right. That was way off. There we go. Okay. Then this piece. Okay. Line it up. And if you find that when you stick it down, you have no mat there, like that one, you can just remove a little bit of the paper with your X-Acto knife if it bothers you. Anyways, so there's the project. Now, some other things that you could do is you could put some legs on the bottom. And if you're going to put legs on the bottom and you want to add a little bit of sturdy, I would put a piece of chipboard on the bottom, and that would sturdy it up. But really, you have a double layer of this poster board there, so it is very sturdy. That's why we kept both layers on instead of cutting one off, because it helps to sturdy up the bottom. You want a really sturdy bottom, especially if you're going to be lifting it off by putting legs on it. If it's just flat on the table, it doesn't really matter as much, but if you're going to add legs or whatever, you're going to need it to be sturdy, and it will be if you do it just like that. So there's our project. There's what it looks like. If you want to, you could cover the backs with some pattern paper opposite of what you used. You could just stick those in there. But really, once you have stuff in here, that's really not going to show. But if you want it to look a little nicer when it's empty, you could do that. Anyways, there's your project. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email is annamarie29@gmail.com. I hope to hear from you all soon.